Actually, this is my first time on YouTube. It's a new and unusual experience for me and the team. What we are doing right now is entirely new, but it comes straight from the heart. The response from people has been tremendous. In just 3 days, we went from 200 registrations 2 days ago to around 500 yesterday. And now, at this moment, we have over 1,600 registrations in the project. The project has been around for 8 months, and already 170 countries have joined our project. That's a fantastic result. With pride, we present to you our first product that will generate returns for our investors, DigiU Wealth. And in fact, this approach extends to our entire sphere of activity. Thanks to this, on the 2nd of December, we paid out our first dividends. That is incredibly important. Let me tell you about our venture fund. We have successfully launched this direction, and it's becoming one of the most important parts of the DigiU ecosystem. The technologies we develop within our ecosystem are applicable in all aspects of life. AVA is primarily a decentralized data transfer protocol between blockchains. What I'm most proud of is the team we've managed to build. We crystallized this idea, vision, and the word ecosystem from the very beginning. Our proud mission is to make individuals the primary beneficiaries of modern technology use. Connected with Curve. AVA will utilize and create pools directly on Curve. In essence, Curve DAO will own the contracts. We are currently in the negotiation process and finalizing our strategic partnership. One of the trends we are observing is phygital, a digital transition, essentially digitizing real-world assets. This project is linked to real estate tokenization. There are 3 areas we are developing that are essentially ready for funding. Artificial intelligence, our own RWA bank, an entity already formed as a separate project. And the third direction is a tokenized asset marketplace. AVA, in collaboration with Curve, is creating a solution called Cross-Curve. In Novosibirsk, we held the first international investment forum of the DigiU ecosystem. Partners and investors from different countries gathered, and we summed up the company's 4 years of work. We reviewed how it all happened, discussed achievements, development principles, and what awaits the ecosystem, the quantum growth that will bring us to a new level.
Hi everyone, happy to be here.
Thank you, Idar and WebWise community for having us. We are really flattered to be here today.
Сторона может обратить существенный эффект на приобретение этого актива.
Dear friends, my name is Alexey Ognev, CEO of the DigiU ecosystem. I'm pleased to welcome you to the final webinar before the end of our share sale. Only 5 days remain. We have spent 4.5 years reaching this date, and we've been actively discussing it for the last 6 months. We made the announcement in December and have achieved an incredible, highly effective period. Today, we will talk about this. Now, just 5 days before this crucial date, before the ecosystem reaches the next level, we are holding this final webinar. In fact, this webinar is somewhat unexpected because it seems everything has already been said, everything announced. Everyone who's been with us since 2019, through the years 2020, 21, 22, well, these difficult years for us and for the world, knows this date. This webinar wasn't supposed to happen, but it is because about 8,000 new users joined our ecosystem in June. These people may not know much about us. So we decided to hold this webinar, where I will explain the DigiU ecosystem in simpler terms, in plain language, for the 8,000 new users. And I believe that in the last 5 days, we will reach 10,000 new registered users, or maybe more, as the number of logins and registrations continues to grow. And I think the number of people will increase. These new users will have the opportunity not just to watch all the webinars, which I highly recommend, but also to hear a brief overview from the CEO of the DigiU ecosystem. Why do we recommend becoming part of the ecosystem? Becoming a co-owner of the ecosystem, a co-owner of all its products. And what opportunities will this open for each of you in the near future? And what opportunities can already be realized? That's what this webinar will be about. So, it will probably be in a conversational format. And I will highlight certain points that I find important. If some information is missing, if you are new and joined us this month, or maybe in May, or just yesterday, please watch this webinar and then visit our YouTube channel, our chats, our Telegram channels, or just your personal account, where all the news is published in 12 languages, if I'm not mistaken. And you can read everything about us. You can see what an investor's portfolio is, what the key events are, what plans, what assets you have, which ones you bought, which ones you received as a gift, how much they are worth now, and the development plans of these companies. When you can manage these assets, the term of your investments, and so on. All this is in your personal account. So, if you are new, watch this webinar. Go to the YouTube channel. I think under this webinar, we will publish a list of several additional webinars that you definitely need to watch to fully understand what is happening in the ecosystem. what statements we made. For example, last year, at the end of last year on the 4th anniversary of the company, what plans we set. Then there was the report webinar on May 10, where we shared how much the ecosystem has grown in terms of the number of commercial products. So, statements, path, and fact of implementation. This is probably the key thing to consider when studying a new project, a new ecosystem, looking for some investment opportunities. What do they say? How much time passes? How is it implemented? If these 3 criteria match for you, said and done. In our ecosystem, it's always 100% like that. Then I prefer to trust such people, to work with such people, and to achieve results. If you agreed and did it, the ecosystem lives by such principles. And as Alexander and I often say, do more, talk less. So let's start. Also in this webinar, I will try to share some news, some bright events that have happened since the last webinar. As we mentioned in our post today, at the end of this webinar, we will hold a drawing of 50 Telegram Premium accounts, a very convenient feature, and we are pleased to give away 50 Telegram Premiums. This will be drawn among the 3,000 participants who opened secret boxes in their personal accounts by completing daily tasks. This feature has been available since the end of May. And just this past weekend, the 22nd, 23rd, there was an opportunity to open this secret box. And we proudly announce that about 20,000 secret boxes were opened. And many people visited their personal accounts at that time. The feature we launched is pleasing our audience on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's attracting a lot of attention to our project. It allows people to get acquainted with it dynamically. Because if you log into your account daily, you receive a reward. This mechanics will continue. We have repeatedly said that the ecosystem is moving towards forming a community. Any action in the interest of the ecosystem will be rewarded. This can be reposts, likes, comments, something that is already familiar. In the future, the functionality will expand. But any action in the interest of the ecosystem will be rewarded by us, and even more so. Overall, studying trends and diving into the specifics of modern projects, we see several trends now, and I will try to describe them. This will probably be long-term, and you will notice them more and more. But try to hear them from me for the first time. The first trend we see, which we talked about in the last webinar, and it's no secret now, is those projects where you perform a simple action. For example, tap a button. These projects are now coming into focus. Hamster Combat has 150 million users. And this story continues to develop. Notcoin, 35 million users in a month. The Telegram ecosystem, all this is growing at an enormous pace. Probably, this appearance is obvious. We launched our own Tapper, our own project within the Launchpad last week. And already in the first week, about 170,000 users were in Telegram channels, which is a huge result for us. And overall, a very serious result in such a short time. Several tens of thousands of people play this game daily, and powerful updates are being prepared now. Such interesting functionality. Because in essence, our Tapper, this capitalist app, both educates the audience and has a large infrastructure of the entire ecosystem behind it. Specifically the Launchpad, the venture fund, and then us. So ecosystem users will receive rewards and business opportunities, understanding that they are backed by a solid, understandable product and a solid, understandable ecosystem with great opportunities. That's probably why we are seeing such a big growth, such a big surge. But what should you think about? All these projects are now growing their audience. Even in the framework of studying all this, I have about a dozen such projects on my phone that I just watch, draw conclusions, take some interesting, understandable mechanics from them, apply and observe. Clearly, this will soon translate into the DigiU ecosystem's personal account and investor portfolio becoming available as a Telegram application. This will make it more convenient, pleasant and functional. We have a comprehensive development roadmap, utilizing available technical solutions without additional complexities. In your familiar Telegram bot, if you haven't installed it yet, please do. You will have all the functionality of the existing personal account, and likely some additional features will be available there. And all the daily rewards you access in your personal account will be managed through Telegram. We will likely add various types of farming features. Our goal, as I mentioned, is to reward the audience for all targeted actions. That's in our plans. Overall, how do we see this industry moving forward, and where might it go soon? And how will we, as the DigiU ecosystem, direct it and act in this direction? What do we see right now? We see projects that gather around themselves a huge audience, and daily, or perhaps monthly, through some tasks at this audience. For example, watching a video, subscribing to a channel, performing actions like cryptocurrency exchanges, and so on. In other words, various tasks. These projects assign tasks to their audiences. Well, a picture forms where these projects engage, say, 150 million people or 35 million people, a vast number of individuals, all driven by their interests, yet without any guarantee of rewards, nothing assured. So, everyone waits for something. Whether it happens or not, no one knows. And will people be rewarded for their time spent? Imagine how much time 150 million people invest. It's entirely unknown. Thus, in our opinion, an unfair attitude towards a vast number of people is being created. Moreover, the number of such projects continues to grow. More and more of them emerge. Many are already asking, what comes next? This is the question we are also asking. Somewhere around the midpoint, after Notcoin launched, after all these projects launched, it became clear that the next phase in the development of these projects, and indeed in the evolution of audience attention, will be the moment when the audience, when people, communities, tens, hundreds, thousands of individuals realize their power, realize their significance to the projects. Reflect on these words. And from this point, I will develop the thought further. Imagine that it's not you acting in the project's interest, but the project acting in your interest. This is a completely different paradigm and a completely different approach to rewards, to time spent. If we manage to shape this, which I'm confident will happen one way or another, soon we will see such gatherings of people. Perhaps within some project. This will begin to happen if projects realize it faster than the crowd realizes itself. So, an assembly of people who understand that no startup, no application, no Notcoin, no Telegram is worth anything without an audience. And when the audience realizes this, that's when a new stage of development will truly begin. Perhaps within the DigiU ecosystem, we will start these processes more consciously, more explicitly. Because since 2019, our mission has been that individuals should be the primary beneficiaries of all modern technologies. All modern technologies should operate in the interests of the majority and the interests of each individual. In this scenario, projects will approach these formed audiences, which represent a large number of people who understand their value, understand what they can offer, and on which markets these projects can get significant support. And then, when a project approaches, it offers not just the possibility of a drop, but an interesting product for this audience. Bonuses, tokens, and other points that will absolutely be rewarded. In this case, benefits are distributed not just fairly, but maximally in the interest of every individual and the interest of this community. Perhaps what I'm saying now sounds abstract, but I suggest you think about this and track how we implement this in our projects, specifically within our ecosystem. Because if we talk about our commercial solutions, there it's quite straightforward, and they are currently developing in this standard paradigm. A project solves some problem, and if the audience contributes to its promotion, it rewards with drops, points, NFTs. Using Ava as an example, you can see the same in Capitalist, but there it will manifest more overtly. In Apato and our other technological solutions, solutions from our partners whom we invest in, and so forth. As for the DigiU ecosystem itself, by December, it will be 5 years since our company's inception. During this time, we've managed to cultivate such an interesting atmosphere in our projects. This is when people understand their importance. People in different countries, in India, Vietnam, African countries, CIS countries, Latin America, in 184 countries where we are present. They have already deeply felt their importance to us over these 4.5 years, and we will likely continue developing this within our ecosystem. Now, we will actively work on expanding our audience, but not through selling shares or becoming co-owners, rather through launching technological products. However, they are launched in the interest of the audience. This trend, I believe, you will notice and scrutinize more consciously in the coming, perhaps, 2 years. And I think that after launching our Telegram application as an investor portfolio, this will become even more evident and interesting. But even now, you can see it in your personal account if you participate in various sales, engage in different activities, receive daily rewards, open secret boxes, and so forth. In short, I've shared some news and thoughts that haven't been discussed yet. Perhaps in August, if we succeed, specifically I, perhaps someone else from the team, we will travel to India, speak at Money Expo Mumbai. Such an interesting event that gave a significant boost last year. Perhaps There we will present our version of modern community development and what they can achieve with the right approach, both for projects and for themselves. Thus, we will also become initiators in helping large masses of people realize their importance and value for all projects, for all technologies that we launch, and other projects which are launched worldwide. Because in that case, people will make a conscious contribution to development. So we see that this is not just about restoring justice, but rather a significant acceleration of projects and technologies, and their overall implementation into life. Therefore, stay tuned for our news updates. And now, let's walk through the ecosystem, see how it stands currently, and where we should focus our attention. There is a standard presentation that I've often conducted at meetings. That is, when it's necessary to elaborate on the DigiU ecosystem and explain it to everyone. That's exactly how I present it. Whether it's a new partner in an African country, or a project seeking investments from our fund, or a major technological partner when questions are asked. It's a comprehensive overview of the ecosystem. Now, let's try and share it. DigiU is an ecosystem for developing and financing products and projects in artificial intelligence, blockchain, and other modern technologies. This is the key definition you need to know. Understanding this will give you a full picture of the ecosystem. Development and financing are the two key processes we undergo. We develop our own technologies, explore artificial intelligence, blockchain, and other fields. Soon, our laboratories will also incorporate the next direction, energy, because this is also of immense importance. Peter has spoken about this many times. So, we accumulate expertise and truly are experts in these fields, to the extent that we can be. Yet, this is sufficient for us to make these complex technological decisions. The second key process essentially is financing. We attract funding and invest in these technological directions. We chose them, not randomly. Firstly, because life in one way or another was connected to them. Secondly, because we see incredible economic prospects in them. Essentially, we are a commercial company that needs to earn money, make a profit, recover its investments, earn for itself, for its investors, for development, and so on. Therefore, the financing and investment process is a key process we have. Development and what I've said. We consist of three main parts. The technological part, which includes laboratories that essentially engage in research in these technologies, to know what will be in demand in a year, in 5 years, and what will be in demand in 10 or maybe 50 years. If we manage to look at such a time frame, while it's still difficult to do naturally, we calmly and with very high accuracy see 3 to 5 years. And the things happening now, if you look at the year of 2019, 2020, 21, were predicted quite accurately. And although Peter is not such a frequent guest, but when he appears, he always speaks very accurately about where artificial intelligence, blockchain, the next direction will go. And with a high degree of probability, all his predictions come true. The second important part is the venture fund. This is the unit that has been at the forefront for the second year already, because it allows the ecosystem to develop and expand effectively. Now we are in the second stage, the stage of the venture fund, which allows us to expand the ecosystem. Expand it in terms of money and the technologies that are in our portfolio. And the venture fund is the tool. Including this can be considered a tool that allows us to do this as quickly as possible. Money is raised, invested, earned on. And funds are essentially the structures that create the future, support those technological solutions that initially seemed like some absurd idea, and then in 5-10 years become used technologies, used in a popular company with a capitalization of $1 billion. Of course, funds earn on this very, very much. And the third important part is the community. This is our part, which has been formed quite carefully since 2019. Now it has more than 160,000 registered users. I'm only touching on the DigiU ecosystem, and among them, approximately, we are approaching 20,000 investors. And I really hope that before the end of sales, we will surpass this milestone. And whoever becomes the 20,000th investor will receive some special distinction, maybe some prize. We will somehow encourage it. So all those who invested, let's say, if you are interested in this, we will definitely encourage it. And we will mark this person. I hope that in these 5 days, this person will appear. It doesn't matter in which country they are. We will mark them. We will reward the first and the 20,000th. What else would I like to say? And the community, actually, the evolution of the community I talked about there 5-10 minutes ago, where all this is going. Perhaps we will become the first community in the world that realizes the importance, thanks to this, implements this idea. It will become a key part, become those to whom projects come. And gradually we are moving there. As I already said, our laboratories perform essentially a scientific goal. The main process in laboratories is the process of development and research. This is entirely a scientific approach that allows accumulating knowledge. And here everything is simple. We accumulate knowledge, pass on this knowledge to the venture fund, to the business unit, which looks, for example, at the technological part report and sees technologies that will be in demand and invest in these technologies. And here too everything is maximum, simple, understandable and effective. If you know something, you can earn on it. If you have a lot of this knowledge, accordingly, you will earn a lot. This is the approach of the venture fund, the approach of the DigiU ecosystem. We earn on technologies. And this has allowed us to do so since 2020, which was the first year of our existence. In the first year, we paid the first dividends, and now we are actually moving towards the fact that these dividends will not be accrued from just one product, but already from several dozen. And the fund helps us very effectively in this. So if you are not with us there for so long, if you are the first month with us, then know that the DigiU ecosystem has been paying dividends from its first year of existence, bonuses in the form of tokens of projects, shares of projects that are developing in the ecosystem, allowing participation in the earliest rounds. And we already have people in the ecosystem who on various snapshots have recouped their investments and actually continue to do so, and are practically in the stage of passive income. And there are more and more of such people. So, 3 main parts: technical, venture and community. They are all united by a great idea. That is, the implementation of the concept of a digital identity, which essentially includes both the technical part, the economic part, and directly the community part. Because personality cannot exist detached from these main things. It cannot exist without technologies, economic part and environment. Thus, with this approach, from 3 parts, we create not just a digital identity, but also an environment for its existence. It's clear that this is a long-term process, a process where not only our company, not only our ecosystem is going, but where the entire technological world is going, and digitizing spheres of people's lives, creating some parts of this digital identity. And our projects fit into this concept exactly the same way. And for the most part, over 4.5 years, we've built such a technological basis to have technologies, infrastructure, throughput to have partners. On the 10th of May, during our webinar, make sure to watch it. There was a speech by Peter. From the perspective of implementing this concept, everything is well organized in terms of how we implemented it and how each of our projects fits into this concept. In general, this short definition consists of 3 parts. We deal with technologies and businesses based on these technologies. We have a large community. You can become part of the ecosystem, become a co-owner. If you manage to, you only have 5 days to earn income from the company's value growth, from capitalization growth, from buyback procedures, dividends, and from numerous bonuses we have. Participate, learn how to use our products, which are currently incredibly groundbreaking technologically. And accordingly, all of this is part of the ecosystem. Speaking of figures, of key values, in the last 6 months, from January to June, the number of commercial projects has increased by 220%. We launched our own directions, like RWA ecosystems, RWA Bank and RWA Marketplace. Some parts of them are already operational and have satisfied our users. I'm talking about the deposits project, about the tokenized real estate marketplace Apato. People there are already receiving dividends from real estate income, launchpads, and so on. This is all developing. The list of these projects, which you will see on the screen now, we will not go through them individually. We are talking in plain language. So if you log into your personal account by June 30th, choose the maximum, minimum, or average package. Click Pay, fully or partially acquire it. You become a co-owner of everything in the ecosystem. And from all of this, as I said, you receive dividends and bonuses. And after we finish sales, we start the reorganization process, the preparation process, the further development of the company. Because we need to understand the final list of shareholders. How many shares we have? How many will be completely burned? How many will remain in reserve? Accordingly, which jurisdiction we will choose next to prepare for the company for IPO, for development as a closed, dividend-paying company. There are many options here. It's important that year after year, month after month, we are moving towards this. And right now, we are at the stage where by completing sales, the final list of shareholders is being formed. And in the future, it will be impossible to purchase a new package. That is, you can only fully pay off your installment by the end and participate in other ecosystem activities. Understanding that you are co-owner of everything in the ecosystem and receive income from everything the ecosystem produces, invests, and creates together with you. This is probably the main idea, the main concept that makes sense to understand if you have just joined. 5 days until completion. If you are a co-owner, you are a co-owner of everything, as long as you hold shares. This is a key part. For example, if you need time to make decisions, you only have 5 days left. And my sincere recommendation is to click the button, choose the package that suits you in terms of monthly payments or one-time investment, and then gradually figure it out. And at the same time, you will be able to participate in the third major snapshot and will participate in the redistribution of shares. Be included in the final list of shareholders and you will have time to figure everything out by yourself. But to make this decision, log into your personal account, read the latest news, watch webinars, and watch the final webinar, the webinar from May 10th. And accordingly, there are some other important events. What else would I like to say? After we finish sales, June 30th is the last day. Then, in a few days, we will publish the initial figures. How many shares were sold? How many of them are in installments? The final list of our shareholders, our investors. That is, I think around the 4th of July, which is Thursday, we will have enough time to gather these figures. Enough to process some support requests related to purchases. And I think on the last day, as always, there will be excitement and someone will miss something. Therefore, please do not postpone everything until the last day. On the last day, something always starts to go wrong. And in the end, you may not have enough time. And we wouldn't want to experience a huge load. Watch the webinar, log in, and done. If everyone does this, then those who postpone everything to the last moment will still have the opportunity to become co-owners. Therefore, as I said, in a week, we will hold another webinar. I think on Thursday as usual, where we will summarize the work done and share some figures. I'm curious myself to know, because deadlines are always so unpredictable. And I think we will see our 20,000th investor. Accordingly, on the July 4th, we will hold a webinar, summarize, share some figures, and find out how understandable my today's webinar was. And in general, let me know in this broadcast. Do you share, for example, such a vision of how the community will evolve? Or maybe you have a different opinion on this matter. How can we accelerate the development of the community? How can we further strengthen the ecosystem? Maybe you have your own vision. Because sometimes I hear this idea. Tokenize your shares. This will give you such a very large influx of everything. But we still don't even consider this issue from the point of view of making some kind of decision. So if you have ideas, write in the chats, write in this webinar. I read all this. Sometimes I respond in a personal message. When something comes to me, I always respond. And now, we will conduct a Telegram Premium giveaway. So it's clear that there are 50 accounts. We will not manually select them here. This draw will take place within this webinar. After the webinar, a post will come out where we will publish the list of these participants. And you will be able to write, and there will be instructions on how to get this Telegram Premium. Contact our support. They will send all the necessary gifts to your Telegram account. I want to emphasize once again, log into your personal account, complete achievements, daily rewards and tasks. This is now what brings a large number of users to the ecosystem. New people who bring new opportunities with them. Naturally, we reward you for this. After the sales end, this mechanic with daily rewards will be completed. So participate. This is of great benefit to us, and great benefit to you, and great gifts. Thank you for today's webinar. I wish you to manage everything you want. To become a co-owner of the ecosystem. Only 5 days left. And I thank everyone who was at this meeting today, and everyone who's been creating this result for 4.5 years and allows us to achieve these powerful goals, launch commercial products, and declare ourselves to the whole world. Thank you very much. All the best.